Okay, guys. So, for some of you, a year has gone by since you graduated. So, my question would be, can you share with us where you are now, 1 year after the graduation,
Sure.
and what has happened with your project and with your personal life as well?
Yeah, personal life, okay.
Yes.
Well, actually, my name is Viktor Freundt. I'm from Peru. I am industrial designer. I work in the Ministry of Tourism in Peru and also professor in PUC University. No? The project I developed was the Mincetur Lab. That is a laboratory for the public servants that work in that sector. And we developed the laboratory through different experiments and pilots during the time that I was taking the master, no? And thanks to the master, actually, I learned a lot, no? And that's how the project was developed. No? Actually, today, the laboratory is in process of being launched, no? Formally by the Ministry of Tourism in Peru. That's great news. It was not so easy because you have to understand how the public sector works. No? You have to understand the role of the director, the legal office, the budget office, the vice minister, and all the actors from the public, private, educational sectors, and also civil society. No? Right now, we are looking forward to the launch in the upcoming weeks. No?
Nice.
That it has taken time, but that's a positive thing. No? And also, we're also working on this APEC project, no, that is from the 21 economies of Asia Pacific. No? We are developing this project about how the creative industries impact on the future of tourism. So it was approved. We are looking forward for this manual or guide of how the creative industry can be learned by the public servants, how they can use this concept for tourism. And by creative economies, we understand that it's design, music, arts, theater, artisans, all those topics. No? And we have designed these new projects. That is how they, for example, two actually. The impact, the intellectual property-driven tourism. No? It's like, for example, how to use characters from cartoons.
Nice.
So you can create new attractions in tourism. And also the impact of FabLabs, makerspaces in tourism. No? We are looking forward to being approved, no? Because it has to be reviewed by the 21 economies. So that's what we are working on now.
So, Gabe, where are you now? And it doesn't have to be specifically with your project, but with all of your projects as well, in general.
Yeah. So by way of introduction, I'm Gabe Tavas, biodesigner and entrepreneur. I work on a variety of things, but I like to tell people that I'm especially interested and focused on projects related to wood, food, and rivers. My MDDI project was specifically focused on the river side of things. I was working on basically these bio-based wetlands that could be like floating gardens in the Chicago River. It was employing a variety of techniques from willow trees to mussels as filtration for the water quality, to using mycelium grown from municipal waste to create the floating platforms. So there was a lot of ideation I was doing for that. And it's actually been quite related even to what I did most recently for the Fab City Challenge here in Mexico, where we were working on the chinampas, which are like some of the first floating gardens ever constructed. And I still like to find ways to brainstorm in that area, but my primary focus since I graduated from MDDI has been my business, Symmetry Wood, which was the first company to make solid wood from bacterial nanocellulose. Many of you might know that, as well as kombucha SCOBY. So, a lot of folks have been very focused on SCOBY as a way of making leather, but this is a new application, and we want it to be a way to replace many of the tropical hardwoods that are causing a lot of destruction in rainforests across the world. If we don't disincentivize the logging activity, we're going to lose a lot of those ecosystems. So this is an example of a material that is going to be not cutting down any trees. It won't incentivize any forest destruction. and it won't use any petrochemicals or other dangerous ingredients that are too often in many of our building materials. So there's a lot of work to be done there. I'm in the process now of going from Chicago, where I did MDDI from, to Los Angeles, moving over to Los Angeles in order to scale up my business. So that's what's been up in my life so far.
Nice, Gabe, nice. So for the ones that are graduating this year, what initially motivated you to pursue MDDI? And how did your goals change along the program when you started and now that you've ended, basically?
I can go first?
You go first.
Okay,
please.
sounds good. So my background is in sociology, very focused on an academic lens. And I loved the way that we were working with trying to understand problems and really get to the root of issues. But what I struggled with in that was how slow the action was. I feel like this happens a lot. In the ivory tower, you know, you're very focused on the research part, but not on the action and implementation part. And so that's kind of what led me to MDDI, was wanting to get more on the ground a little bit, really in with the people, getting your hands dirty and really making something out of it. So that's kind of what led me to MDDI.
Nice, Ellie. And an extra question, what is, where are you right now with it? How is this hybrid profile that you have now, how does this profile has impacted in your life, because now, of course, you have the background, your initial background, but now you have a more wide, profile, right?
Yeah.
So how would you define that?
So there are two questions that I see in that. So one is the hybrid of digital with in-person activities. And I think a post-COVID world, or kind of, really values the ability to work independently, in a hybrid fashion or a remote fashion. And so that was something that I was able to point to, is hey, I just completed this master's program and it was this hybrid model. And so I feel like I'm equipped with a lot of tools and ideas for how to engage people over long distances and stuff like that. So for facilitation purposes, it's really good. In my professional life, though, I've shifted. MDDI was actually what helped me get my job. Yay!
Nice.
I connected with a local nonprofit as part of the research aspect of MDDI, and throughout the project development, they were really impressed with what I was doing, and so they offered me a job there. So I work there now, and I'm doing community organizing for them. So I think what's kind of cool about that is that community people side is definitely tapping into that sociology background, but I have some more autonomy to say hey, what if we tried this really out there creative idea, and that's kind of a toolkit that I've learned from MDDI. So
Nice. Danny?
Okay. I did Fab Academy 2017 because I was hired to manage a FabLab in 2016. So I got a place that was messy in a school
In Sao Paulo.
in São Paulo.
Mm-hmm.
And as the school was growing, there was this feeling of someone to keep track of safety, maintenance, equipment maintenance, and get the team to work and develop itself. So this is my start in the Fab world. And before that, I was in a bad professional situation, economic situation, and I have chosen digital fabrication as a new path for my life.
Nice.
And then I was hired to the Fab Lab, and then I did Fab Academy, what put me in the ecosystem. And 2018, when I went to the meeting, Thomas was launching MDDI program, and I've been following the things from that. I was one of the participants in the challenge in Bali.
Not in the same team as Gabe, so
No.
Yeah, I won the.
Yeah, you got me there.
We had two
Not
teams.
nice.
We had two teams, so he should be in the other one. But that puts me in the veteran team of the challenge. So it's a great experience for once in a lifetime at my age. And then
MDDI
came as a network happening from the contact I had with people from MDDI through the years of joining the international event as we are now in Mexico. So the FabLab I work with was invited to be a node for the program. And we were gifted with 2 grants for the program, and then I arranged that in the backstage. So the school took the opportunity, okay, let's do that. And I said, now I need you, the school, the coordinators of the programs, to point someone
to do it.
to do it for the first time and learn how it feels to run it as a student. And I was pointed.
Oh.
So that was very fortunate, but misplaced in my lifetime schedule. So it was a struggle to get that, but it's like, okay, I got a voucher for that, and I really wanted to do that beforehand. So it puts me in a very comfortable place that I made every effort necessary to have the INSPA FabLab as a node. And I got it, so I succeeded as a manager at that moment, and then I was granted the opportunity to do the program myself. And then, okay, challenges, a lot of them. The program was really nice. It gave me the opportunity to learn about the neighborhood I live in São Paulo in a different way. And in the personal level, it changed a lot in the particular thing that is a relationship with my daughter, is the activity that was developed by many reasons, is something that is something that we have among us now. So I go pick her up and she's half of the time she's asking, are we go sketching today? So she's willing to do that. And I've been learning how to think about and develop community bonds, so people to interact with themselves in a healthy way, to change the public environment in a way that you have it as a tool to develop your own community bond or family bond if you're in a smaller scale, and to make it a habit. It goes in the long term for the future impact. And if you have community bond in a public area, then you change the ecosystem, because the way people relate to that geographic place changes. And if you do that through an activity that you just think and sketch with no filter, then it's good for your mental health as well. So those are very nice things. And at the end, what I want to do is, okay, I'll keep this in a personal level. I will advertise it to the community through social media, but I want to replicate the methodology in something else that I have and I want to do. But with public schools, I may do it like not for free, but without asking for a fee, and not as a selling a course or a program, but I want to apply the methodology to this very peculiar thing, which is managing FabLabs or makerspaces after you implement them, after the glitter has gone away, after you start it. So have this content ready, and my approach will be most of it by what I've learned during the MDDI program.
Nice. So guys, one last question for this session. Anyone can answer, but my question would be, how was the interaction between students that not only come from different places, but actually have different realities as well, different cultures? How did that provide?
I want to visit everyone.
My thoughts exactly.
Like this kind of friendship. Like,
Yeah.
This I want at some point I want to visit. Like send an email. Hey, I have an opportunity to go close by.
Yeah.
Let's gather, and that's my feeling.
Well, and I think there's a lot of camaraderie too, which I wasn't sure if that would be possible in an online setting, but coming to this conference and being able to meet people in person, it's like, oh my gosh, like I finally get to see you, because we've been waiting for so long.
Yeah.
So that's one piece. But then you also mentioned how like, with how was it interacting between different realities and different values and different perspectives. And I think it was a good way to ground my own work in realizing that the perspective that I take for granted in the US and the things that maybe I struggle with, or the things that I think I'm like, this needs to change, you know, might not be the same everywhere. And so it was helpful for me to kind of be humbled in that way and realize like, yes, my perspective is valid and important, but I also want to be listening to people around me. So,
Wow.
Yeah. And you also get inspired by the different perspectives. No? It's like, hey, these ideas are so crazy from this person from this country, no? And I'm too normal, no? And it's like the importance of sharing ideas, of learning how they live, what they think, why they don't like, no? That's really important, no? Actually, I enjoyed the experience, no? And I still enjoy it, because I say, I would like to visit your country, I would like you to come to my country.
Yeah.
No, I know how, we don't know how to do it, but it's a dream that maybe becomes reality in the future, no? That's a goal, no?
Yeah.
How to continue the connections, how to continue learning, and that was great. Actually, I got inspired by Gabe's project, by everybody's projects,
Yeah.
in order to create my project, and that's the idea of the master, no? To share thoughts, no? And test them, no? To see if they work in our country or in the world. That's great.
And I'd say, echoing everyone's thoughts, this is also true for the faculty of MDDI.
Oh, yeah.
When I did the FabSay Challenge, I actually got quite close with one of the professors, Thomas Dugan. Also, Vivian is smiling because she knows that we're both we like to wear our hats, and we both have quirky biodesign tendencies.
It's like you're another version of him in another
He's the
world.
English version of me.
Exactly. You're the American and he's the English, for sure.
So yes, the faculty. This applies to faculty as well. Would love to visit them. And the second thing I will also add as well. One thing that is also on my mind is, I come from immigrant parents to the U.S. And that can be a challenge sometimes, where you may not always feel like you fit in, or your multiculturalism is not fitting the norm. But when I'm in a setting like this, with MDDI, with the Fab City Challenge, with the conference, that's no longer the case. I feel much more comfortable. So I value that quite a bit, and I cherish that every time I get into one of these settings.
Nice. Thank you guys. You're all amazing. You're all an inspiration for myself. Really, you are. That's why I like MDDI and I keep being part of it. And I think, Dan, of course, as well, I think he can agree with me. But we are really into students, and they inspire us every time. For us, it's like reading a new innovation magazine with the latest news. It's like all the inputs that you can bring. So, of course, there's a lot of room for improvement, but I really encourage you to keep your path, because you're really incredible.
thanks.
Thank you.
Guys, you can go and have lunch. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
That was the great news right there.
Yeah.